Hi, I am 45 years old, and 3 years ago, I quit my job. I was 42 years old at the time. I had a stable career, excellent benefits, and a modest amount of savings. I really had no job lined up. I had no plan. And I honestly kind of wondered if it was crazy to even be considering quitting my job in my 40s. But I knew that something had to change. Like a lot of people, I went to college, I got a degree, and I thought that this meant having a fulfilling life. But what happened in reality is that I started really just living for the weekends. So Fridays and Saturdays were great. I was happy. It was a little escape. But then on Sundays, I would just feel anxious most of the day. And then when it was time to sleep, like it was so difficult to fall asleep because I was thinking, oh my gosh, I have to work tomorrow. And it's not that I'm afraid of work or hard work. There were just so many different things going on there. It just became very stressful. So my job wasn't the worst of jobs, but it just became very stressful for me in many ways. For one, many people were quitting. A lot of times that extra work came on my desk, but I wasn't getting any extra pay as a result of that. And it was the type of place that if you wanted to be promoted, they want to see you staying many hours later than required. They want to know that you're opening emails and responding even late at night. And I did that, but it really was just it just became to a point where it just felt a little bit too much. Also, I kind of felt singled out for being a single person. For example, we got a certain number of remote days per week, but if someone in the office who was married and had kids was unavailable to work, then they would call Camille, the single one, to come in because I guess it was assumed that since I'm single and have no kids, that I don't have a life or responsibilities as well. I worked with that organization for about 10 years, but after working there for a while, I felt like I wanted more. So I remember around my last two annual evaluations, I brought up the possibility of being promoted. And every time my supervisors would say, let's talk about that next year. And so it just began to feel hopeless. The turning point happened for me one day when I was heading to work. I parked my car, and as I'm about to enter the building, I noticed that my body just shut down. So I noticed that I had difficulty breathing. My chest was really hurting. And I honestly thought that I was having a heart attack. But then I realized it actually was a panic attack, and I don't get panic attacks. So that really told me that my body was telling us, Camille, I think we need to make some changes. So I decided I was going to quit, and I put in my resignation notice for about a month and a half just to give like a proper transition and also to help with the hiring process for my replacement. And when I quit, it was a feeling of relief. I definitely felt relief. I felt excited, but I also felt very fearful because I'm like, what am I doing? And it's just that fear of the unknown of doing something I never did before. So after I quit, I felt relief again, but I felt a lot of pressure now because now I have to make it. I only have about $20,000 savings in my account at this time. And I just knew that, especially living in Miami, that is going to disappear very quickly. So, my somewhat of a plan, I came up with this idea that I was going to start a relocation company. At the time, Miami was booming, everybody wanted to move here. So, I figured, I can capitalize on this, create a business helping people to move and transition here. However, at the same time, I started a Miami things to do type of page on Instagram, just kind of seeing, hey, posting for fun, seeing what would happen. And literally in about 2 weeks, I had over 10,000 followers. One of my videos went viral. And then I started to get businesses, restaurants DMing me and saying, hey, we'd love to work with you. How much do you charge to be featured on your page? And I thought, wow, okay, maybe I'm going to focus on this instead. So from there, I started doing a lot of restaurant reviews. I never planned to be a food content creator, but that is what I started to do. So at first, being a food content creator seemed like a dream job. It seemed like, wow, I get to eat for a living. I get to be paid to eat. But the reality for me, at least, is I started to realize that it was getting in the way of my health. When you go to a restaurant, they give you lots of food because they want to show a lot of variety of the types of food they offer. They want to show their cocktails. And so what happened was I was eating high calorie, high salt foods, high sugar on a very regular basis. I was having 2 to 6, actually I was having more like 4 to 6 alcoholic drinks a week. And I'm not a big drinker. And then this resulted in me gaining about 20 pounds. Some of it I've lost in the past year. And I still have some I want to lose or just tone things up. But I realized that it really wasn't very sustainable for me. I also started going to many events, whether to network, and sometimes you get invited to cool events and you're like, oh, should I go? I used to have FOMO, but honestly now I have JOMO. I seriously love being home. All of my life, I would say from since my 20s, 30s, I was that person who loved going out. I just really loved being around people. But after all the going out to many different restaurants a week, having all these alcoholic drinks, which by the way, I actually no longer drink alcohol. After I woke up and realized, especially as a woman in my 40s, where alcohol can disrupt your hormones, I realized, what on earth am I doing to my body? And so now when I do go to restaurants, I don't eat everything. Before I used to feel guilty with them giving me all this food and then I wouldn't eat most of it. But now I've learned that I just have a few bites of what they're giving, just enough to give a good, authentic review of the place. And now I ask for mocktails or even just water, so I don't have to be drinking all this alcohol all the time. Another thing that I did not know getting into the food content creation business is how unpredictable your income can be. And I guess this goes for many types of small businesses or maybe any type of small business, because unlike a 9 to 5, you don't really have that guaranteed set pay that you know what you're going to get and when you're going to get it. So the pros are, there were so many months where I would make much more than I did at my 9 to 5. But then there were many months where it was scary because maybe a brand did not pay me on time, which is actually very common. They do what you call net 30, net 60, some even net 75, where you get paid 30 to 75 days, either from when your campaign is over or when you send in the invoice. And so you don't know when you're going to get paid. Even when you expect to be paid on that day, a lot of times I had to end up chasing brands just to get paid. So I also realized that I should not have been so dependent on just one platform and one income stream, which was largely brand deals. And I'm actually going to share with you in an upcoming video the income streams I have and the income streams I'm currently building for 2026. So stay tuned for that. So I just really kind of came around to realize, after getting very burnt out from all the events and all the restaurants, this is actually not the type of lifestyle I want for myself. I like going out, but I don't want to have to go out so many times a week. And so right now I'm in the process of, actually I've already started where I don't do as many restaurants as I did before. I'm more selective in the type of brand deals and restaurants that I partner with. And I just find that I prefer being home a lot more now than going out all the time. Maybe it's a 40s thing. Maybe it's just that I got burnt out. I don't know. But that is where I am right now. So that has been my experience so far as an unexpected food content creator. I definitely have learned a lot of things. It's been a roller coaster for sure. And if I were to give you 4 lessons that I've learned, if you're thinking about quitting your job, the first one is time is worth more than money. Many of us chase money. The reality is that while you can always make another dollar, you can never make another minute. Lesson number 2 is your health isn't optional, especially if you want to live a long and fulfilling life. Lesson number 3 is diversify your income. Whether you're working a 9 to 5 or you're self-employed, you never want to rely on just one income stream. And lastly, lesson number 4, design your life before designing your income. So you want to ask yourself questions like, what do I want my day to look like? How do I want my mornings and weekends to feel? And lastly, how much money do I actually need to live the life I want? So that's my story. I gave up my stable career and excellent benefits at 42 to change my life. And I would say I've done that. I now have peaceful sleep, and I no longer have the Sunday scaries. I actually look forward to every day. So I would say that overall, this was definitely worth it. So now at 45, I am definitely still on a journey. I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm actually really looking forward to 2026 and seeing what the future holds. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing with you what my income streams are and some of the income streams that I am looking forward to building in 2026. So if this video resonated with you, just know that you are not alone, and I will see you in the next one.